Hi everyone, welcome to the Industrial Automation Control Training Room. This time I will bring you the alarm function of our new software. Alarm is a foundational function that every HMI configuration programming software has. However, a single off-limit alarm can no alarmer meet the user's needs. So the alarm function of our new software, in addition to the traditional off-limit alarm, has also added deviation alarm and change rate alarm. The various types of alarms can meet the diverse needs of the users. For the alarm type, besides the traditional word and bit, we have also added the expression alarm function. In addition, our alarm information supports import and export, allowing for a quick configuration of information content. At the same time, we have also added the alarm information statistics function. Let's take a closer look at it now. First, let's find the location of alarm information configuration. Screw down in the left project bar to find event alarm. When we expand, we can see that there are three: alarm setting, monitor and record alarm information table. Let's take a look at the alarm setting first. Alarm settings are used to set the alarm group, alarm level and alarm type. For example, you can add alarm groups, adding alarm levels and edit descriptions, emergency levels, and modify the diagrams. There is one thing we need to pay attention to. If we need to view the alarm information in a project, we should check Enable Alarm Record box here. For example, after logging in the alarm information in a project, and our alarm is also in the triggered state. However, we cannot see any content in the alarm information table. So we need to check whether this option has been checked. Below is the export record function, which includes setting the export devices, the folder name and the export file format. After the alarm settings are completed, let's take a look at the alarm information configuration. Double-click on the alarm information table, and then click on Add. Here, we can see that the alarm types include bit, word and express. We need to bind variables for bit and word. Also, you can select it, and all logic expressions compose of multiple bits and words to form our expression alarm triggering condition. For our word type, there are three alarm methods: often alarm, deviation alarm, and change rate alarm. It is easy to understand that Alfred alarm is triggered when we exceed the limit value we have set. For example, the normal value is between 150 and 750, so by default an alarm will be triggered when it is below 50. The second alarm will be triggered in the range of 50 to 150, and the third alarm is above 750, between 750 and 900. A third alarm will be triggered if it is greater than 900. A fourth alarm will be triggered. Deviation alarm refers to giving an alarm when the target value reaches a certain deviation. For example, the default target value here is 100. Then the small deviation is 20, large deviation is 80. That means when our target value is less than 80 or greater than 120, there will be a small deviation alarm. If it is then 20 or greater than 180, there will be a large deviation alarm. The change rate determines the rate of change of a variable over a period of time. if the specified rate of change is exceeded. And the learn will be triggered. That is when the variable changes too fast. At the same time, we can also set up other operations after the alarm is triggered. For example, like our alarm system. We usually want to have an alarm pop-up window, or operate on a certain word, or execute macro comments. So we can check the action box. Then we are able to set action trigger, confirm and recovery. After check this box, you can see that the action here are all the set functions that we discussed before. Now let's have a demonstration. First select bit. Then alarm variable select alarm bit. Input the text to it. Alarm bit. Trigger. Then click OK. Let's add an alarm type of word. First use the off-limit alarm. Bind the variable alarm word. For now we only check low and high. And then modify its value when it is below 100 and above 150. And alarm will be triggered. Then click OK. We will continue to add. Set the alarm type to work. And select deviation alarm, which is the same alarm word as above. And we set the target value as 120. With a small deviation of 5 and a large deviation of 10. This means, when the vary of our alarm world is less than 115 or greater than 125, a small deviation alarm will be triggered. And when it is less than 110 or greater than 130, a large deviation alarm will occur. Now click OK. Then we add a change rate alarm. And we can select the change rate at 3%. Which means that, when the change rate exits 3% per second, it will generate a change rate alarm. And select the same variable alarm word. Finally, let's add an alarm of the expression type. Here we add alarm bit. When our alarm bit is all. And we also add another alarm word. When the alarm board is equal to 150, alarm will be triggered. This means that when the alarm bit is on and alarm board is equal to 150, alarm will be triggered. If we modify the logic to all, which means as alarm as one of them satisfied, the expression, it will trigger and alone. Then let's take a look at the style of exporting our alarm information table. So click OK. Export. You can see the export is successful. Now go back to our desktop and find the exam. In the Excel document, we can clearly see the alarm group and the level it alarms to, as well as the content of its alarms. We can directly add content to this table and then import it into our software, which saves time in configuring the alarm information table for repeated operations. Once our alarm information is configured, let's take a look at How to display our alarm information content in the software. Now go back to our software. Then go to the screen. Alarm current. Click on our component. And you can see there is an alarm display component here. After expanding, you will see there are alarm bar, current alarm, alarm history and alarm statistic functions. First we select alarm bar. These can display our alarm information content. In the form of traditional working lantern, we can check whether to display these contents according to our needs. We can enlarge a font a little bit. And also increase the line space in the table property. Click OK, then place it in this position. We can also place a current alarm. As you can see, the thought order is also selectable. We can just use the divorce setup time and descending. We can also choose the content we want to display in the table based on our needs. To facilitate the display, we will display the alarm ID, alarm level and alarm group, and then increase the font size and list. For the table properties, we can also increase the row gap. Then click OK. In order to display an alarm effect, we need to make a switch component alarm triggering. We will first place an alarm triggering switch component. Then select the alarm's bits for the variable and reverse for the switch type. Alarm bit. Off. Then choose a graphic. Place it here. Then place our numerical input component. In the same way, select alarm word for the variable. And here use this graph. We can place these two buttons in the public window, so that it can be displayed in each other window. And these two buttons are for switching between current alarm window and history alarm windows. We can adjust the overall arrangement first. Okay, let's take a look at the effect of our offline. Click OK. And you can see the alarm word has already triggered the alarm. Because the current value is 0. We can manually restore it. After restoring, the current alarm is not triggered. So there is no content displayed in the table. Then let's trigger the alarm bit. We can find the alarm bit trigger. In the first row is the bit alarm that we set, and the alarm trigger. In the second row is the combination of words and bits that we set to trigger an alarm. Next, let's take a look at our alarm statistics function. Check the alarm data monitor and alarm statistics. First, let's look at the alarm data monitor. Add to bind the alarm word here. And then click OK. This means that it can monitor the value of this variable in real time. Then we also check alarm statistics. We can report the current alarm count, as well as reports the current alarm status. And we can bind these variables separately. Report alarm number and report cumulative alarm count. And it will calculate our alarm data and write it into the variable. We also need to pay attention to how to display the current value of our alarm data in real time in our alarm information. We need to go back to the alarm information table and select the off-limit alarm. We can see that there will be a set after the alarm text. We need to locate the position where we want to display the word using the mouse cursor, for example. If we need to display it in the end of the alarm text, we can select Set and then select this alarm word. Then it will insert a variable value of our current alarm word at the end of the alarm text. Next, let's take a look at our alarm history display component. So similarly, choose Alarm History and check the content you want to display according to your needs. And we also check the alarm ID, alarm level, and alarm group. Set our font size. Here, we can also set the alarm query function. Check the query function box and bind the variable for query status variable enable alarm query and query trigger variable. For convenience, we can set the trigger variable to automatic reset. They modify the line space in the table. Since we use the alarm query function, we need to perform an operation on these two variables that we just used. We choose switch function, word switch, and bind the variable enable alarm query. And we select reverse as the switch type. Change the display size. Then place it here. Also, I forget to set the label enable alarm query. Save it to all state. Then copy and paste for this button. Let's bind alarm query trigger variable. Trigger alarm query. Then click OK. Since the automatic set was select there, we can simply set the switch type of this variable to ON. Let's take a look offline and see the final effect. When we come to alarm history, we can see that this is the content of current alarms. We will go to the current alarm and confirm them before restoring them. Back to alarm history, the alarms have already been restored. And then we can turn on our alarm query function here. Then we search our alarm ID, which is equal to 002. Click OK and trigger. Now you can see that the alarm ID 002 has already been filtered out. We also have an alarm statistics function. Let's create two numerical display components. The first one is bound to our alarm number. And we customize the format. Place it here and copy and paste. The second one is bound to alarm cumulative number. OK. Back to our offline. So now when we come to the current alarm, we can see there are two alarm contents here. Then go to alarm history. The alarm number is 2. And alarm cumulative number is also 2. Let's manually restore the alarms. Now we can see the current number of alarms has changed to 0. And the alarm cumulative number is still 2. Then we will trigger our alarm bit. Now you can see this is keeping increasing continuously. When I trigger the alarm bit, it generates 2 alarms in this table. Why does that happen? Because our alarm ID 001 and 005 are all related with the alarm bit. So triggering the alarm bit will trigger 2 alarms. Okay, that's everything I need to talk about today. Thanks for listening.